Hi everyone, my name is Marlene and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we are going to be exploring multimodal AI, which is just a form of AI where we use large language models that can either input or output something other than text. So we want to be using more than one form of modality. And to be able to do that, we're going to be using GPT-4o-Realtime, which is an API that has been around actually for a while. I think it was announced and released last year sometime. I'm not sure if you remember, OpenAI actually did a very cool presentation with real-time voice, and someone was talking to the assistant using audio. There was some controversy around the voice that was used at the time, but I feel like they've hopefully smoothed that over. And so today we are going to be using that API just to test out voice input and output with a large language model. But also at the end of that, this video is going to be fairly short, but at the end of it, I will show a little bit of a demo of something some of my coworkers have worked on, which is VoiceRAG. So a version of this where you can use GPT-4o-Realtime to be able to chat to an LLM that's grounded in some data. So if you're interested in any of this, please keep watching. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is we want to navigate to the OpenAI Python SDK. That is just under the OpenAI GitHub repository. If you go there, it will just come up. That's the first place that we want to go to. Actually, I am also seeing that they have an OpenAI real-time agents thing going on here. I will come back to, I'm curious about that and I'm just seeing it. Anyway, we will come back to that. The first thing that you want to do in this tutorial is head to this OpenAI Python repository. What I'm going to do from here is I'm just going to grab this link from the GitHub and I'm going to clone this repository on my local machine. So let's go to here, and I've just created an empty repository. I'm actually going to activate this. I had installed some dependencies, and then I also have an env file with my API key in it. So what we would just want to start by doing is cloning this repository and getting that onto our local machine. And then we want to cd OpenAI Python. Okay, so now once we have done that, I hope this is clear enough. Once we've done that, we now want to go into the examples folder. And we want to look at the real-time examples as well. And so when we're there, you can use Azure Real-Time, you can use this push-to-talk version. I'm going to use the push-to-talk one just because it gives us a full example of something working, whereas we have to add a couple more things into the Azure one. But you can use your Azure credentials as well in this application too, if you would like to do that. They start by showing us a couple of dependencies that you can install. I have already done this in my virtual environment, but you can go ahead and install it. They recommend that you use UV to install, but you can also use pip, of course. To do that. Something to note is that you do need Python 3.9 or higher. So that is something to keep in mind when you are installing this application. I want to say the main package that we want to make sure we have is the OpenAI real-time package, because we're importing a bunch of things from that. I will mention that we are also using textual. Textual is a Python package that was created by the same person who created Rich. But with textual, it allows you to be able to create applications or different experiences inside of the terminal. And so that's what OpenAI has chosen to use for this example, which I think is great. And then we have this real-time app class that's also using textual, but this is where the majority of our code is going to live. And we have the CSS that's being used, obviously, just to create the look of the application in our terminal. We'll see what that looks like just now. We are also going ahead and we are setting a couple of things. The client is going to be async OpenAI. We're setting a bunch of other things. We're using this audio player that we got from the audio utils file. Here is where we want to actually make some changes in the code. So here I would want to pass through, if you're using your API key, you could do that there. So I would say OSS and then I would put in that OpenAI API key. We can go ahead and import OS in this. I don't know where to import it, but I'm just going to import it here just because, that's where I landed. So that will just allow the application to interact with GPT-4o. It does on its own here set which model we will be using. So in this case, like you can see, we're using GPT-4o real-time preview, and that is the version of the model that we will be using. So they have a bunch of other code here that I am not really going to walk through for you, just because I want this video to be a quick start, just getting you started with how to use this. So let's go ahead and just run the code just to see how it works. We are in the YouTube channel, in the YouTube folder. I want to go ahead and cd into OpenAI Python. And then once I'm there, I also want to make sure that I have my env file in the correct place. Where did I have my... Do I have my env file here? I saw it. Okay, no, here it is. Okay, great. So I want to put it in the examples in real time as well, just so that there's easy access there. I'm sure it would have picked it up, but I just want to make sure it's there. And then I'm just going to run Python push. It's push to talk. To talk. Right. Let's run that. And it's saying we're in the wrong directory. Yes, that's right. CD examples. And then real time. And then let's do that again. Perfect. So this is actually really nice. I think this looks great, to be honest. I think this looks great. Really good job to Will and team from the textual team for creating stuff like this. So here we can see we have our session ID showing that, a session is correctly being created. Let's go ahead and just press play and try and test this out. I'm hoping that you can hear. Let's just make sure that... I don't know if this is... I'm hoping that it will come out and you can hear properly, but let's start. Hello.
Hey there. How's it going?
It's going well.
That's fantastic to hear. I'm glad to hear that.
Great.
I'm glad to hear.
Okay, I don't know. The problem is, I feel like it says you have to press K to start recording, and then you press K to stop recording. So I'm not sure if I should continue just recording continuously or stop the recording. But it's so far, I'm actually really impressed. I feel like the voice is super natural. I think it's the interaction, feels pretty real time, and it's responding the way I expect. I need to think of a question to ask. I will ask about Python. Okay, so let's do that. Let's ask again. Can you tell me about Python, the programming language?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Python is a versatile, high-level programming language known for its readability and simplicity. Created by Guido van Rossum and first released in 1991.
Okay.
It's great for both beginners.
So clearly this is really great. I think it does a great job. Something I definitely have seen is that you have to press the button to start the session, to start recording, and then when you're done saying something, you have to press K again, or else it's going to be probably overwhelmed by the input that's coming from the audio. Now that we have taken a look at OpenAI's example version that you can find on their repository, another sort of more complex example of using GPT-4o-Realtime that I wanted to show you is this sample. And this comes from one of my teammates, Pamela Fox and Pablo, that are obviously from Microsoft, and they have created this VoiceRAG application, and it's really cool. It uses your voice to be able to your voice and Azure AI search, so a vector store, to be able to talk to your data, or to an LLM that has access to data that it is grounded in. And so you can find out more of information. The application looks like this, that we will launch in just a bit. To be able to run it, what I will recommend is, usually I would say to clone the repository and run it on your own. For this specific case, I would recommend using code spaces, just because There is a lot of extra stuff that comes with this that allows you to deploy the application if you want to use it in production, and just also to be able to provision resources for Azure as well. So in my case, I did already have this in Codespaces. I am going to launch it in Codespaces, but use it Codespaces desktop to access this on my own machine, just because I want the purple background. So I will be back once this has loaded and once I am on my local machine. Oh, okay, it's loaded now. So we can just do this. We can click this button and then let's choose Open in VS Code for insiders. So this has opened up in our local VS Code. Let's go to the README of this repository. Let's open Let's open the preview. I just find it easier to read when we have the preview open. For this, I would recommend actually going to this deploying the app section, and that's just going to get you through the quickest time or quickest setup if you already have an Azure AI account. That's just going to give you through stuff quickly so you can be able to experiment and see if this is an application that you think is worth building. I will say that all of the code is open source, so you can access it on GitHub. I've already logged in here. I am going to run this command, which is azdenv new. It's just going to create a new environment for me. So I'm just going to call this multimodal tutorial. And then after that, I'm going to run this command, which is azd up. And that will just deploy the resources that I need to be able to run this. So I need to choose my subscription. I'm going to blur out a bunch on the screen there for, for the people out there. I don't know. And so I'm also choosing East US2 as the region that I'm going to be using to deploy these resources. And this should just get everything going. All this is doing is that it's using something called Bicep, which is infrastructure as code. Okay, so it has finished deploying. We can see that when we see the success notification at the bottom there. I did see some errors, so I'm a little bit nervous about trying to deploy this, but we're going to give it a shot. I am going to run this command here, which will launch the application for us. It's just a script that I think installs all of the dependencies that you need for the front end and to get that started. Ultimately, the application should look like this. So let's hope that the errors were a fluke. It's saying there's an error using source map for reporting an error. I'm not sure about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open it in the browser and we're going to see what happens. So let's give this a try and see what happens. Hello?
Hello.
Oh, it's working. It's working. Okay, let's try that again. Hello?
Hi again. What can...
Hello?
Hello. How can I help you?
I will say this is different. This is different. Okay, so this is different than what we had in our other application where to be able to keep the conversation going, you needed to pause things. Here it looks like it just wants you to continue the conversation as normal. So let's ask, this is about employee benefits. Let's ask, okay, what are my employee benefits that I can use for vision?
Your employee benefits for vision include coverage for vision exams, glasses, and contact lenses under both the Northwind Health Plus and Northwind Standard plans.
Okay, that was great, but I do feel like in another example that I saw, it actually linked specifically the documents that it was quoting. Let's try again. Okay. Hello.
Hello, how can I assist you today?
Can you tell me
Hi.
which benefits I have as an employee?
As an employee at Contoso Electronics, you have access to several benefits. 1. Vacation perks, including a standard 2 weeks with a health and wellness stipend.
Okay, it is telling me what benefits I would like. Can you show me, can you link to the benefits on the screen? Oh, can you link to the benefits on the screen?
I can't provide direct links, but you can find detailed information about Contoso Electronics employee benefits on their official website or by contacting your HR department for specific details.
Okay, so one thing that I will say that it is doing correctly is that it is seeing, it does know, it does have the context here because it's talking about Contoso Electrics, which is the company, the correct company, and it is mentioning some stuff that is specifically based in some data. That is all for today's video. I hope you found it useful. It's very short and really was just trying to give you an introduction to multimodal workflows, or, typically today's video was not technically multimodal because we really were just using voice, audio input, audio output, but really you could use this with a text input and an audio output, or the other way around. You could also add other things in there, like, I just saw an agent tutorial that LangChain just tweeted out that has true multimodality in the agent, where you can use text, audio, and all of those things. I will link that tutorial in the description for you to check out if you would like to. I will also link everything else that I showed you in this video today. I will make sure to link that as well. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did find this video helpful, please share it with someone, like it, and make sure you're subscribed to my channel. And that is all that I have for you today, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.